Early education in Calamba and Binyan, it was typical schooling that the son of illustrated family received during this time, characterized by the four reading, writer, arithmetic, and religion instruction, was a grade of strict. Knowledge was forced into the minds of the pupils by means of the traditional memory method, again by the teacher's whip. Despite this respects the Spanish system for elementary education, Rizal was able to acquire the necessary instruction repertory for the college work in Manila. It may be said that Rizal, who was born in physical weakling, rose to become an intellectual giant, that because of Patton brothers' fight of the outmethod background system of instruction obtained in the Philippines during the last decades of Spanish decline.
Disillusioned with how Filipinos in the Philippines were regarded as second-class citizens in institutions of learning and elsewhere, the national hero Jose Rizal left the country in May 1882 to pursue further studies abroad. He enrolled in a course in medicine at the Universidad Central de Madrid in Spain. In June 1883, he traveled to France to observe how medicine was being practiced there. After his 3-month sojourn in France, Rizal returned to Madrid and thought about publishing a book that exposed the colonial relationship of Spain and the Philippines. This idea was realized in March 1887 with the publication of the novel Noli Me Tangere in Germany. Rizal was actively involved in the propaganda movement composed of Filipinos in Spain who sought to direct the attention of Spaniards to the concern of the Spanish colony in the Philippines. Rizal returned to Manila in August 1887. Rizal arrived in England in May 1888. In August, he was admitted to the British Museum, where he copied Antonio de Morga's massive study of the Philippines, Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, which Rizal later annotated for publication as a gift to the Filipinos. In the museum, he devoted his time reading all the sources on Philippine history that he could find. He kept up his correspondence with various people, including his family, who were being oppressed by the Spanish religious landowners, the Filipino patriots in Spain, and his Austrian friend, Ferdinand Blumentritt, with whom he planned to form an association of Philippine scholars from 1888 to 1890. He shuttled between London and Paris, where he wrote ethnographic and history-related studies, as well as political articles. He also frequently visited Spain, where he met with fellow Filipino intellectuals like Marcelo H. del Pilar, Mariano Ponce, and Garciano Lopez Jaena. In March 1891, Rizal finished writing his second novel, El Filibusterismo, in France. He planned to publish the book in Belgium, but was financially hard up. His brother's support from back home was delayed in coming, and he was scrimping on meals and expenses. Finally, in September 1890, El Filibusterismo was published in Ghent using donations from Rizal friends. Meanwhile, a rivalry had ensued between Rizal and Del Pilar over the leadership of the Association Hispano-Filipino in Spain. Rizal decided to leave Europe to avoid the worsening rift between the Rizalistas and Pilaristas and to help maintain unity among Filipino expatriates. After staying for some time in Hong Kong, where he practiced medicine and planned to build a new Calamba, by relocating ladies Filipinos to Romeo, Rizal came home to the Philippines in June 1892.
Rizal medical study in University of Santo Tomas in 1777 to 1882. After graduating, he continued his education at UST. He finished a year in philosophy and letters. He decided to shift to a medical course. UST was under the Dominican rivals of the Jesus in education. Rizal remained loyal to Ateneo, participated in extracurriculum activities in Ateneo, and completed a course in surveying. It was during a school term 1878-1879 that Rizal pursued his study in medicine. Rizal life and study in Ateneo. Rizal entered in 1872 in Ateneo. He belonged to the class composed of Spaniards, Mestizo, and Filipino. His teacher was Father Jose. He was considered as inferior and was placed at the bottom of the class. By the end of the month, became the emperor of the received a prize, a religious picture. To improve his Spanish, Rizal took private lessons Santa Isabel College. During his fourth year in Ateneo, he received 5 medals and graduated as sobresalient. He graduated on March 23, 1877. Rizal, 16 years old, received the degree of Bachelor of Arts with highest honor, not a valedictorian.
His main reason in living in the Philippines was to transfer at the Universidad Central de Madrid in Spain and to finish his medicine course. May 3, 1882, on board the Spanish steamer Salvadora, Rizal departed for Spain using Jose Mercado on his travel documents. May 8, 1882, he has a two-way stopover in Singapore, an English colony. May 11, 1882, he was on board the steamer Gemna, a French steamer much larger and cleaner than Salvadora. May 17, 1882, he arrived at Point Gale, a seacoast town in southern Ceylon. May 18, 1882, he had a stopover on Colombo, the capital of Ceylon. May 28, 1882, from Colombo, Ceylon, the Gemna continued voyage and crossed the Indian Ocean until to reach Cape of Gardapin, Africa. Then he reached Aden. June 2, 1882, from Aden, he proceeded to Suez Canal, then to the Red Sea terminal reaching Port Said. June 11, 1882, from Port Said, the steamer proceeded to Europe and reached Naples City in Italy. June 2, 1882, the steamer docked at the French harbor of Marseilles, where he stayed for 3 days. June 15, 1882, the steamer left Marseilles by train and reached Pyrenees and stopped for a day at Fort Bow. June 16, 1882, from Port Bow, Rizal continues his trip and finally reached his destination, Barcelona, Spain.